Can anyone spot the difference? I've been telling you every morning that we need to use the lockdown as an opportunity to learn something new. Can you guess what I tried to learn over the weekend? That's right. I tried to learn how to use clippers. And I had one of those classic clipper situations where you sort of use it and you make a little bit of a mistake. And in the effort to sort of smooth out the mistake, you have to take a little bit more off everything. And this is what I ended up with. What was really crazy is that you could do that. And I realized I don't have much hair left. No! Far worse than being locked in. So I hope everyone's okay. We have viewers from all over the world. We're generating quite a nice following on YouTube. We've got the recruiting gym that people comment in and contribute to every day. And most importantly, I've got my live audience, and it's great to be here with you all. So that's what I learned new this weekend. I also did some plumbing, and I've worked out when you put one of those rubber stoppers on a stainless steel pipe, it doesn't grip as well as a copper pipe, as when I was pressurizing my central heating system yesterday because my plumber's in lockdown, so I've got to finish off. Well, I'm learning plumbing too, so I was doing some radiator stuff, and I was powering it up, and suddenly the pressure gauge was going down rather than up, and I realized the stopper had come off, and I was like holding the pipe, and I was like, help, and my wife was downstairs running up, every towel in the house covering the floor, and it's all dry now. The builders will never know that I screwed up. So let's think about what we're doing today. So I'm not sure if anyone else is feeling like it, but I feel like I've got a bit of a bank holiday hangover. And one of the reasons I think the hangover today is worse than normal bank holidays is we sort of had quite a lot of bank holidays before, but also coming back to work is difficult because typically we come back from a bank holiday and we've got vacancies to work, clients to call, candidates to call, interviews to arrange. We feel like we're in the mix. But it sort of feels like, I'm not sure if anyone else is feeling like, I'm sort of wondering what the point is, right? What is the point of killing yourself when the world is in lockdown? And I know from the leaders I was speaking to last week, they're getting that feedback from their teams, which is, well, what's the point of this? Like, a lot of our clients aren't recruiting. Why are we working so hard? And you know what? The leaders are struggling to come up with an answer for that too, because in their brain, they're going, maybe we should just take 3 months off. That's sort of what's going through my head. And I think the challenge is that the scale of what we're trying to work through changes every single day. It feels like I talk about goals at least once a week. And the reason I talk about goals once a week is that I'm having to reassess my own goals once a week. And I'm looking at those goals thinking, how realistic is it? And in some ways, my goals continue to become less ambitious, not because I'm an unambitious person, but there's got to be an element to any realism of a goal that we've got to set. Also, I think I'm getting stressed out by driving short-term wins, like in recruiters' world, have you got any vacancies that you want to work today? With the long-term win, which is, I want to be here when things turn around. Will you help me when things turn around? And we're so used to driving short-term goals. When that short-term win, that sort of fix, as it were, disappears, it's very difficult to know sort of, like, am I doing the right thing? Am I on the right track? And so what I encourage everyone to do today is reaffirm, like, what are we playing for over the next week? what are the quick wins that we might be able to achieve? Could it be we make sure all our contractors and temps are still on site? Could it be we touch base with all our past clients to say, I hope things are going well? As I said, it feels very weird setting goals where there's not necessarily the direct outcome of a vacancy. That being said, though, I think a lot of companies now will be beginning to be at the point where they're like, you know what, we've got a workload that has to be done. I think we had some success last week from Abby, who was saying that companies were thinking about their virtual onboarding process and they were starting to press go on recruitment. And so I think we've got to remember is that the medium and long term could become the short term very quickly. Business development is one of those things that you've got to put a lot in up front to realize a benefit at a later date. One of the reasons we put off marketing activity and business development activity, remember when I say business development, it's not smashing the phone saying, have you got any jobs? It's a marketing centric business development, which is just sort of saying, hi, I'm here if you need me. And it's about reminding the team that we've got to be continuing to add value to our clients, showing them that we're there for them. If you're wondering what the point is, ring 10 clients today and ask them, what's the point? How are you keeping your team motivated? Especially if you work with anyone that's in a demand-driven business, so sales, which requires quite a lot of sort of proactive activity. Let's ask them, how are they keeping their teams motivated? See what tips and tactics you can get that help yourself personally, as well as what's helping lost it now. I sort of lost him. I think I'm like Samson. My webinar power has been lost with the Clippers. So remember, just as we think about CIA. So remember, I've talked a lot about the circle of influence. One of the founding principles of the daily stand-up was every day to think about one thing that we can control. Because CIA stands for, can I control it? If I can't control it, can I influence it? And if I can't influence it, I need to accept it. So can I control the fact we're in lockdown? No. Can I influence the fact I'm in lockdown? No. Therefore, I've got to accept it. I'm not a quitter. I find it very difficult to accept these things. But we've got to play with the hands that we dealt. Can I control whether people buy the leadership and management program that's going live in 2 weeks? No. Can I influence it? Yeah, I can probably catch up with everyone that I know and say, this is what we're doing. We just wanted to let you know. But if no one buys it, I've sort of got, I mean, I can only do so much. So thinking about one proactive thing that you can market in the week. What can you control this week? So you can control your attitude. You can control the amount of clients that you contact. Can you influence whether the client recruits? No. So you're probably going to have to accept the fact that they're not recruiting. But can we influence how they feel about us? Absolutely. And that's what business development is about. It's about influencing how they feel. Whilst we only maybe get 30 or 40 live on the show every morning, we're getting sort of 50 to 100 live watchers on LinkedIn. We're getting playbacks on YouTube. Everywhere I go at the moment, the people I speak to, I'm getting leads from people that I've never heard of before because they're watching the daily stand-up. That's what the opportunity that we've got is that it's about putting content out there. It's about engaging your community. I know we've got Harris Lord. You do a lot in the pharma sector. What are you doing to share market intelligence with your clients? Justine is like they're in Horsham. They have a local market as well. What are they doing for local candidates to help them with market updates and tactics and tips to nurture that community? Because candidates will be coming back to us. There will be candidates, and I hear a lot of candidates that are starting to engage with recruiters, just putting the feelers out. You know, they're not actively looking, but they just want to engage with that. And in some ways, that's part of what an old school recruiter used to do. over the last 10 years, recruitment's been, are you looking for a job? I've got a job. Let's put you forward. In the old days, it was more like, I'm sort of interested. If you find anything that could be right for me, give me a call. Are we building those passive lists of candidates of people that could be looking? Especially if you're in niche sectors, there'll be companies in niche sectors that will still be having challenges because of the way they're structured. It could be that they're going to run out of cash. It could be they're running out of funding. So even though they're in a sector that's doing well, they may well financially be struggling, which may put their teams at our knees. So thinking about what are we doing to build those passive candidate lists, just keeping in touch with people to say, hey, we're here if you need help. We hope you don't need us, but we hope you do. Abby's just said I've just blown her speaker. Thumbs up and jazz hands. So I tell you, this stuff's hot. Like, not only are pens melting, but speakers are starting to blow up. That's the power of the recruiting gym. The last thing I was going to talk about today is that I know the industry as a whole struggles with building relationships with internal talent teams. And I think it's important to note that often, whilst we compete with internal talent teams, they actually do pretty much the same job as us. Just as agencies are being negatively impacted by the downturn and the sort of lockdown, in-house teams are significantly more impacted. The difference between agency and in-house is that, at least in an agency, you've got a chance to fight for survival. You've got a chance to go and find people that will give you business, that will help you keep your job and keep working. In-house teams are literally just going to be at the mercy of whether those companies choose to recruit or not to recruit. Or if they downsize the organization or rationalize the organizations, they'll just be gone. Because if you're not recruiting, why do you need 20 people in internal talent where we might need 2 for employer branding and senior level roles, and we'll leave the rest to agencies? Or we're just not recruiting. So it's important to note that there's other sectors of the market that are really struggling. What I'd recommend to you, and I was speaking to a couple of internal recruiters last week, is contact those internal recruiters that you do have relationships with. Ask them how they're doing. Let them know that if they do get made redundant, you'll happily try and introduce them to other people that you work with that might be interested in them. If you've got tools and templates that you might think help them, introduce them to them. But more importantly, don't ring up and go, ha ha. Ring up, be empathetic and say, how's this going to impact the talent acquisition team? How's this going to impact your role? What plans or strategies? What you need to imagine is that this picture's frozen because my builders switch off the electrics. At this point, I'm legging it around the house, finding a laptop, logging onto the laptop, re-logging onto the screen, all in time to finish the show. I'm back! The builders turned the power off. Who would have thought it? Who would have thought it? Well, I think maybe they were trying to tell me something about internal recruitment teams, but the message to everybody today is keep thinking about your goals, keep reminding yourself about your purpose, reach out to those in internal talent teams and ask them if they're okay, see what you